Good evening, everyone. It's the dot of five, so we're ready to start. Welcome to Eco Innovation Center Tech Biz Transformation Series. And we always thank you for joining. Thank you to our regular attendees. Thank you to the members of Tech Biz Nation. And thank you to every single one of you who have joined. The whole idea of Tech Biz, and we've been running this for many, many months, Thursday after Thursday, bringing to you various entrepreneurs who come to share their stories, but more importantly, who are able to share knowledge on specific areas that help your enterprise to thrive. And for those who even haven't built it, it helps you understand what it takes to build it, what it takes to adapt in the today's normal 2020 2021 new life that we live in, and what it takes to thrive. We look through the entire 360 of running your business, whether it is you as a leader, you as an entrepreneur, your business, your people, your concepts, your ideas, your strategy. We've covered multiple topics in the last 8 months that we've been running this series. And it's been so transformative. People have such positive stories to share about how this platform has really impacted their business. Please welcome again, share in the chat box your name, your location, your industry. If you want to share more about your business, by all means, feel free to do that in the chat box. It's also our way of networking. Today is going to be an interesting day. I am looking forward, and we're going to talk about thriving in a niche market. People have asked, what is niche? In any case, we always throw the words around, have a niche for yourself. But it is about you creating a specific segment of a larger market. And you create that by looking at the peculiarity of that segment, their needs, their preferences, and then you identify the market, you size the market, and that's the market that you then eventually target. But I'm not the one to talk about niche market. We have our guests right here who's talking about niche, succeeding in a niche market. I can't see your face. There we go.
Open it up now.
All right, very good. I was afraid for a second. I said, where did I disappear to? I do not have the local standard to talk about this topic. It is your topic, not mine. So you are welcome, Ayo.
Thank you. Thank you.
You actually, you have gone into a market that most people have not even started to think about. A market where people are currently saying, oh, it's only for the developed world, it's not yet for. However, the larger market of power, of energy, is something that we desperately need, right? So, in fact, you are a perfect example of what a niche market is. I'm going to allow you to introduce yourself so that, people really understand what your credentials are, and that you really have the credibility to talk about this topic, because you have a lot of courage to go into this space, and there's a lot that we all can learn from you. So Tech Biz Nation is hungry to hear from you. The floor is yours. Please take it on.
Thank you so much, Doja. Good evening, everybody. It's been great to be here. To at least join you people in Tech Biz to take a look at what you've always been discussing, and also to share experience with us. Thanks so much, EIC crew, for having me this evening here. My name is Ayo Ademilua, and my background is finance. And funny enough, I think I can see the screen shared. So I've got over 12 years experience in banking, and my last stop was Guaranty Trust Bank. And, for some of us working, you get to a particular point in time where you have the feeling that you have to get away from just the 8 to 5. You have that feeling that there is a lot in you more than the 8 to 5 thing, So that is the kind of crack that we have. That's a kind of push that came when I left banking. And what was on my mind, there's this very serious challenge that we've got in Nigeria today, which is the challenge of power. Everyone knows that that's the challenge. So I was just thinking to myself in the corner of some place, and I was say, hey, how can we solve this power problem in Nigeria? You know, everywhere is littered with the small generators, and the whole place bursting with some kind of carbon monoxide everywhere, and everybody's just into it, and the noise could be crazy and all that. And you take a look at the climb of our national grid, you see that there seems to be like kind of no hope of really having that 24 hours power. So out of the kind of that thought and the drive, I thought myself that it would be great if we can have a better pass my neighbor solar system, the small one. That fine, it's small, like what everybody have, but the difference is that instead of using fuel, it uses the natural energy of solar, and that was how I, went out into that, trying to find a solution to power problem in Nigeria. And of course, just shortly before we started this webinar, Doja was trying to like ask and say, hey, your background is finance. How did you find yourself in, energy and renewable energy? And, I practically just told her that, look, I'm a kind of person that considers myself having the ability to do anything I apply myself to do. The truth is that once you can research, you can study for it. Once you have a passion for it, you're resilient. You could practically do nearly everything that you want to do. So that's just a little about me, in terms of background and in terms of, who I am. So this journey for entrepreneurship started in the year 2010 precisely. And in the year 2010, we had, iterated. And the next thing on the mind was, okay, everyone in Nigeria that wants to start a business, either by you've seen someone done it before or you've thought about it yourself, what happens is most people just jump into it. Oh, yes, fine. There's this, academic business plan that we all try to prepare. So you prepare the business plan. The figures from those business plans speaks to you that, oh, all the monies in Nigeria is going to be chasing you right now, and all that. So you kind of like thinking everything will go well, But the truth is that it doesn't work that way. And sometimes, some reality happens, and everything goes different way. So you do the business plan, you have the academic sheets, you've done the research, you've done this, the SWOT analysis and everything. But the truth is, if you do not do the proper R&D, most of the time you're just going to fail out. So in 2009, deciding to say we want to create a niche, you want to have a niche in the market, I had to say, okay, the first thing to do is gathering knowledge. So in terms of gathering knowledge, what did I do? I started studying about this new field that, I want to try to take myself into. So I had to find a way to start studying how does it go in this market. Think about the industry, look at how the industry is going. You have to read. There's no way out of it. You need to do the research about the industry you want to get into. You need to be sure that you know everything about that industry. You have to study internally. You have to also study internationally. You have to also find out every regulatory permit or whatever you will need to do that business. So for me, like you could see on the screen, in my case, what I had to do was to have, started I trading in 2009. From 2010 to 2015, I was in Asia every year for training. So, for example, in our whole world of renewable energy, for solar energy, we use different kinds of equipment, from solar panels to inverters to charge controllers, to batteries to different kind of things. So I set out, year one to go find out what is the intestine of solar panel, So I go straight there. I, I have friends, over there. So they take me into the factory, and every day I resume at the factory with them. So they start showing me. So for you to have a good solar panel, this must be like this, that must be like that. This is the intestine, everything. So we go back home. The next day we resume again at the factory. I'm with, so I got a training. Then I'll come back to Nigeria. I'll continue my planning. The year after is the turn of inverter. So I went there, and like that for 5 years, we were doing R&D. And apart from having the knowledge about the industry or about the things that we want to do, there is a very serious need for us to understand what does the market need. What does Nigeria market need? So in most of the times, you find what people do is just that, okay, I've got the idea, I've got the training, you jump into it, you're going to miss it. There has to be a plan to say, okay, how will the market receive this? What does the market need? What will the market pay for it? What are the opportunities that are at stake? How can I position myself to take advantage? How do I develop a business model that will be in line with the local economy? How do I sensitize? How do I make an experiment of this? So what I had to do was to say, okay, an average Nigerian, what does an average Nigerian need in terms of energy? So you take a typical Nigerian, you stereotype, say, okay, what happens to an average worker? He goes to work in the morning, comes back maybe around like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the evening, and once it comes back, what does it do by 7 o'clock in the evening? The first thing is that it switches on the light. Now, after switching on the light, what next does it do? Or she does what? She switches on the fan. So if there is a TV, she puts on the TV. Then you're there for like maybe 7, 8 to like 9, 10, and you say, hey, I'm going to wake up very early in the morning tomorrow to go to work. So what do you do next? You switch off your TV. You switch off your lights. You leave the fan on because you don't want to have heat all through the night. So for that kind of person, okay, how many hours of storage does the person need of energy overnight? So we calculated it. Okay, while he's at work, how much energy does he or she needs to get received or stored? We calculate it. Then what type of appliance would he or she be putting on it? We calculated it. So after putting all this together, then you say, okay, this is a system that fits this type of person. So that was the way we segmented the market and tried creating and designing different types of systems that meets those particular each strata of the market. So now the problem we have is that many of the times people buy off the shelf to come and sell in Nigeria. And some, when you buy off the shelf to come and distribute in Nigeria, some of them weren't made for Nigerian market. Some of them were made for European market. They don't have the kind of ruggedity to withstand our tropical, conditions. So at the end of the day, most of the times, those kind of products fail. And sometimes you buy such kind of products, you finish manufacturing, and you find out that they are overpriced. The price is too much for your customers, to bear. So you need to develop a strategy. You need to find out what the local, economy can afford. Then you also have to take a look at, okay, with the way the economy is going, because the truth is, as an entrepreneur, you must be fluid. What do I mean? You can just sit in one place and say, okay, I have done it this way, it got to be that way. No, you can't afford to do that. So you have to take a look at it and say, okay, what is happening today? What's happening today is different from what was happening yesterday. Okay, how do I change? How do I adapt? The truth is, to be an entrepreneur in Nigeria, it takes a whole whooping lot. It is not easy at all. So you have to get yourself ready to be dogged. To say, whatever comes my way, I'm going to break it. Now, one of the things that made me to decide to say, okay, I'm going to do 4 or 5 years training before opening shop in there. Whatever business you want to do, you have to be the first that will be a professional in it. You understand? You have to know every bit of it. Because if you do not know it, your colleagues will take you for a ride. So, for example, you want to be frying cassava, you must have tried it yourself before. You must know the number of tubers that you need to put in before you can get a particular number of buckets. You must know how much heat you need to turn on before you can, fry evenly. So you must be the number one person that has a full knowledge about whatever business you're trying to do. To employ professionals, okay? You got professional engineer, you got professional accountant, you got professional, communicationist. The truth is, I'm a finance person, all my life. And for God's sake, we as a company we have engineers, lots of engineers working now. But the truth is, when we sit around the cracking table, when we're trying to make some design, as they are doing the design and I'm looking at them and I see that they're trying to like do some stuff that I think cannot work by my training, I jump in and I tell them, no, 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 we're not going to put this. No, this is not going to work. It's going to cause problem. So my training, and my taking time out for research to do all the things I did before we started pays off in the course of the business when we're trying to do all things. So in the design, you just jump in and say, oh, no, I can do it that way. No, I won't allow you to do it this way. Then after all is said and done, you must execute professionally. You must execute professionally. Whatever it is that you are involved in, please put some form of professionalism. As of the time that I got into, the renewable energy industry, there were many pedestrians, the people we call pedestrians, passerby traders who are also doing the same thing. Oh, I also installed solar. Oh, I also knew about it. But the truth was that 95% of those people did not study anything about it. So apart from doing physical training, I also had to do many other training that are academics to say, hey, I have to be on top of it. Whatever field you have, make sure that you read a lot about it. Make sure that you study a lot about it. Find out what is being done in the advanced way concerning it. And once you have known that, try to make sure that you apply it at all times. You must, niche is about separation. Niche is about separation. You have to look for unique and specific ways that you can carry out those same things that other people are doing, but in a very professional and different way. It is important to put structure in place. I'm not saying from the beginning, go and employ people that you cannot pay, blah, blah, blah. No. But at least let there be a little structure. So here it is. I'm frying puff puff as my business, as my passion. So you ask, okay, so where does the niche come? Some passerbys are the ones that buys my puff puff. Good. But guess what? If you have a regular and that buys from you nearly every other day, try to ask for his or her phone number someday. The day you don't find him or her, just give him or her a call. In the journey to entrepreneurship, while I was trying to R&D for this renewable energy, I had a photo studio that had also a photo printing press that could print about 10,000 pictures in a day. So at this photo studio, I used to, I used to take down the numbers and the birthdays and the wedding ceremonies of everybody that came to our photo studio. And people used to ask and say, oh, why do you do that? I said, because number one, I wish them happy birthdays on their birthdays. But number two, by extension, it's easier for me when I know your birthday to say, I want to give you a free shot on a birthday. So I could send one of my colleagues to say, please go to who is our house, get them a free shirt. And I also know your children's birthday, so I remind you that don't forget that, Kunle is going to be 10 in the next 2 months. We would love to be there too. So data is important for us as entrepreneurs. Gathering of data as entrepreneurs has to also start from day one. You have to really be data minded. You have to be intentional about it so that from day one you're tracking, you're pulling together those data, and let me tell you, there's always a way that this data stuff, helps. So you must execute with precision. You must execute with a perfect plan and strategy. And you must be able to move your colleagues who are with you, in this execution plan. For me, above all, you must be a team player. The truth is, as an entrepreneur, you can't do it all by your own. You need people, to join you in doing this. And for you to have a great team, you must be a team player. There are leaders, and you also have people that are like slave drivers. So you must be a team player who is able to carry people along, who is able to communicate intentions and objectives, who is able to drive toward execution. You must be able to have evaluate every step of the way what you have achieved. You keep record. Then you measure that record against what you have, and you keep it line by line to ensure that you're always within what you have planned. Start every year with a budget. Look back at your budget at every periodic time. Compare what you have achieved with what you have planned and set out to do. And at every point in time, look at what the variance is, analyze it, and find a way to correct it. And when you have the results, celebrate your results also. But use your results as a springboard, to the next level. So for us, for me, moving into, the renewable energy world, studying, having all the research and development done, then finally designing that which we had in mind, to have a portable generator, whether it is a solar, and we came to the market. So one of the questions someone asked me in the afternoon was that, oh, it would be nice to share about your first customer. So I had a target, an eye for the barbers, because I saw them as the first set of the small SMEs that might want to use the portable generator. So here we have, I went to look for a barber around my neighborhood after, after we had done the design. So I told him, I said, hey, Hamida, I would like to fix a box in your salon for now, for free, just for 1 week. After fixing it for 1 week, if you really want to have it, oh, why not? Then we can talk about it. So on that Saturday, and that was my first customer, with the new design. So on that Saturday, I went there with the team, mark the word, I was there with the team of engineers, and I was on my feet for about 6-7 hours while we were installing it. So after we installed it that day, he came back, and so we left, and he was happy, he was ecstatic about it because he's not seen that kind of a thing before, So, and he started using it. Lo and behold, in the evening, everything went the way it used to, go. There was no light. So as there was no light, everybody around him was asking, "Oh, how come there is light around you? How come your place is lightened up?" And it was like some people came. I mean, I have a friend, an elderly friend. Some people came, and they, and they put this in my office, in my shop, and that's why I had light. Guess what? From that same guy, people that started coming to Bab at his place, within a space of 3 months, we had a turnover of over 3 million. They were not barbers, but people that came to Bab, wow, it's really working. Can you give me his number? And before you knew it, I started having it. So what does that tell us? Every opportunity we have to have a customer, we need to put our best there. Referrals are the best form of sales. So from him, we started growing, and we grew from having such kind of individual, we call them rooftop in the industry, rooftop solar systems for homes, for shops, the salons. From there we begin to do what we call big SMEs. We began to serve branches of banks. And from there, we now took it a further step, like what you could see on your screen. We started powering towns in Nigeria. And so the federal government, gave us a permit to begin to power towns because the grid could not get to those places. So we do the generation of the power there. We do the distribution of the power there. We do the metering to get our revenue, and we do the customer service for everybody. And in the towns where we power, they enjoy 24 hours light, in those remote towns that even, people in the urban do not enjoy right now. So from that, we began to expand. So you can see where the dream came from. When I spoke with you, what I was telling you around in 2009, it came from, let's just have a small box. So from having a small box to start servicing the homes, servicing the SMEs, from there, now powering a whole town, you understand, and powering big organizations. So whatever your dream is, no matter how small as an entrepreneur, the truth is that there is no limit to the growth you can have. In terms of escalation of such dreams, you need to be able to see far, because the truth is you can't grow more than you can dream. So I want to enjoin all of us to, have that growth in focus, be able to say, hey, this is where I want to get to, and try to shoot farther than your mind can shoot. I don't know if you can understand what I'm trying to say. But the truth is that if your mind normally shoots 10, try to aim for like 18, 20, very high aim. The truth, if your mind can see it, your eyes can see it, of course you can reach it. I would like to thank everybody. If you have questions, I'm still around to take it. And it's been a very great pleasure speaking with all of us and sharing these experiences. Thank you.
Fantastic, Ayo. Thank you so, so much. I think for me, one thing that kept ringing in my head was when you said you went on training for 4 years. I mean, 4 years of researching into the industry.
5 years, precisely.
5, you see, fantastic. 5 years of researching into the industry, going to Asia, talking to customers, having a full deep dive into the industry, the regulatory framework, the customer needs, and the customer behavior. In those 5 years, there was a lot you learned. But one thing that I'm thinking about is, how did you feed yourself in those 5 years? Where was the revenue coming from?
As an entrepreneur, if you want to really know that you're an entrepreneur, the truth is that idea just pops at you. So at every point in time, there is always another idea. So there is this idea, which is the one. And there's this other idea, which could bring in trickles. So if you could remember during my presentation, I said that I used to have, a photo studio. And I used to have a photo shop in the middle of Adenero Bonsaya in Surulere, which was doing very well. So that was, where the revenue was coming from, to kind of fund the R&D for the big dream that I had. The truth is that I'm coming from a finance background. I'm jumping into engineering background. It's a whole world. Some guys spend 5 years to even learn, anything about it. So there is no way I could have a shortcut. But of course, out of those small ideas that popped, I identified 1 or 2. I popped it up, and also had some consultancy job, with the government in terms of revenue generation consulting. So that also supported me, in having revenues to be able to coast through all the period.
Okay, thank you, Ayo. That clarifies. I think maybe what we get out of this is, when you are targeting a niche, especially one that has heavy lifting at the beginning, one that requires quite a lot of development, research, and the rest, you need to have another stream of income that helps you balance it off. Yeah. And of course, while you are still working towards your bigger goal. That's Vincent is saying that's a powerful account of dogged entrepreneurship spirit. So thank you,
Thank
Vincent,
you,
and
Vincent.
yes, thank you very much. There's another question here. I hope that's a question. So Kolawole says, for a new agro business establishment that is constrained with finances to employ labor and purchase enough chemicals for the farm, how can funds be generated despite the turn downs from financial institutions for loans?
Okay, I'm going to be answering these questions from two aspects. The number aspect is that based on my experience and background from the banking, and also based on my experience as an entrepreneur. There used to be a very wrong perspective for entrepreneur launching out that we had in Nigeria, which is the knowledge, the academic knowledge of I have a fantastic business plan. Fantastic business plan doesn't do it. No, the truth is there are too many business plans, you know. So what you need to do is you thinking agro business. Go and find half a plot, not a full plot, maybe half or quarter that you and a friend can maybe tend to. Plant just a pilot. You must use the pilot system. Plant a pilot, harvest it, go to market with it, sell it, document the process, and put the proceeds in a bank account. When you're going to see your banker, don't speak much. Bring out the small pamphlet of your small pilot. Oh, I started with 2 chickens. I have a brother that started with 2 snails. He went behind his house in Ibadan. He saw 2 snails. He picked them up and put it in a box and started giving them pawpaw to eat. And from there, they laid eggs. He's got like 100 of snails now. And he's now saying, oh, it's time to start selling, and I want to commercialize. Now, what has happened to him is that he has gone through the process of from 2 to 20 to 30 to 40, well documented. So when he's speaking to anybody, and the truth is we are always blinded by bank being the only, place for investment. That's not true. You can't even tell. Your friend's elder brother has funds, is looking for where to put it. But who would give a pure paper, just paper, money? Nobody. That time is gone. So
it's true, not even you. Even you, the
no,
entrepreneur,
because
you
I
will
can't.
not put your money in,
I can't.
in what is not demonstrated.
So you need to find a small pilot. Just be successful with that pilot. Trust me, the journey from, planting on that small half or quarter of a plot, that journey from beginning to the end matters most to the investor than your 100 pages of business plan. Because 100 pages of business plan is just a piece of paper. Someone could write it for you. But you would remember the day that the plant was looking like it wants to die. And you had to rush to do something. And that's what you always need. So for me, it's not about the bank loans. Please find a way to do a pilot. And trust me, once you do a small pilot, there's always somebody close to you. And when you want to present what you want to do, if you have done a pilot of 100 fruits, don't say, oh, this one, I want to do 100,000. Then you're going to, when we do it, we will have billions. No. So take it from 100 and say, please join me. Let's do 300. You understand? Awesome. And then they join you. They do 300. They become a co-founder. Then both of you hand in hand. Now go to a bigger guy. We've done 300. Could you please join us to do 1,000? And that is how you grow organically. You can't blow as an entrepreneur one day. There's no other way.
I like it.
Don't try to blow.
I want to blow. No, listen, it's extremely critical. The 2 things you said. You talked about structured experimentation, which you also called piloting. It has to be done because that's the only way to demonstrate your capability demonstrate even, your ability, your knowledge, and also to learn from your own mistakes.
Exactly.
Then it's proven. So after you've proven it, then someone is ready to shell out their money. Then you talked about systematic growth.
It has to be organic.
It has to be. I like
It has
it.
to be
I like it
organic.
very much. So,
You
okay, I've
see,
done the structured experimentation on 100. Next one,
100.
1 million.
It's not going to work. You see the
I
picture
know.
you're looking at on your screen on the left-hand side with me and the vice
Yes,
president. I'll just
correct.
tell you the story. You see that system that has my hand on top of it was one of the first system we designed. It was a 300-watt inverter inside. It's a handleable like a stabilizer, but it had everything in that box. It had the battery, it had the inverter, it had everything in that box. The only thing not inside that box is just the solar panel. So, and this picture was taken at the NCIC, that's the National Climate Innovation Center, at the LBS. They were having the opening of NCIC at that time. And, the vice president was there. The MD of REA then was there. So they asked 5 of us to come and present as an entrepreneur. So, and what the VP was asking me at that place was, I've seen all the systems of bigger organizations, but the problem I have is that they cannot be charged with electricity. They only get charged with solar power. I now told him, I said, yes, I knew, but while designing this, I made sure that it could be charged with electricity. He said, really?
So it's a dual charging.
It's a dual charging system.
Fantastic.
Because in Nigeria, the days that it's raining, your solar energy reception is low. So what happens? You must have power. Then secondly, as at the time we did that, the generations of the solar home systems that were in the country had only direct current output. You can't plug your own TV to them. You have to plug the TV that comes with it, because your own TV is alternate current, AC. And they don't have an input for AC. So he asked me, what about AC input? I said, sir, I had put AC input inside it. Why I could do all that was because of that 5 years. I went around the market. I asked the people, what would you want? So everything they told me was what was inside that. Now, when I did that system, we had only 2 that our money could produce. 2 units. Out of that 2,
what did you do with the 2?
I brought one to the party.
Okay.
I brought one to this party.
Yes.
And at this party, the VP looked and said, wow, as a Nigerian, really? He just turned to the MD of Rural Electrification Agency. We've been talking about some shops and some villages. You need to give this young man contract. I had only 2. I brought one of it to the party. But that one that I brought had everything that others didn't have. And said, and from there, the MD of Harry invited me and said, look, we've been looking for people like you. What can we do together? Hey, I wasn't waiting to have the money to do 500.
You made only 2. But what you understood the industry. You also understood the market to know where are the gaps, where is the unmet need. And the 2 unmet needs you talked about, there was no dual charging, right? And there was no AC, AC output.
So people couldn't plug their laptop, they couldn't plug that. They have to be buying other people's TV. And
so the 2 pain points that existed with the customer, you knew it and you solved it. I think those are 2 very critical nuggets that you've dropped there. Understand the market, understand the competitive scenario, understand the pain points of your customer, and bring those solutions to bear in your offering. That's amazing. There's someone who's been raising his hand, iPhone. I'm going to ask you to unmute so you can ask your question. There are quite a number of questions in the chat box, but I'm also looking at the time. We're going to take every single question. I warned you about this.
I'm ready. It's fine. It's great to share knowledge.
Fantastic. iPhone, please unmute yourself and ask your question. You're unmuted already. Can you ask your question, please? Okay, I think we're going to go to the chat box then. Okay, so Temitayo has asked this question. I think this is even the second time it's been asked. So from your explanation about understanding your market, have a background, be well tutored on your industry, is it possible to rely solely on online training for knowledge gathering?
No. Find someone around you who is doing practical. Find someone around you who is doing practical. I'm not ashamed to say it. After I had all those knowledges and training, when I started, I went to find one seasoned solar installer, not as a staff. So my first set of 2 projects, I subcontracted it to him to help me install. Then I went there when he was installing. So as he was doing it, I was watching. As I was doing it, I was watching, And it's been 5, 6 years now. We still give him contracts to do in our organization. So it got to a time when he was going, I just said, okay, my team will be going with you just to see, So it is not enough to just have the online training. Find someone. And that Nigeria, you have everywhere. If you're humble enough, trust me, people will train you for free. So, and I went to him and I said, hey, I have learned in the factories. I have read in the books, but I have not connected myself by myself in Nigeria. Can I join you on this project? It's my project, but don't worry, I'll pay for you to go do it for me. So I'll just sit there, just connecting. Then it clicks. So online, it's good for you to have the knowledge, but try to do an hands-on. As an entrepreneur, try and hands-on.
I agree with you. The market is where the money is. The money is not in the computer,
It's
unless you are doing Yahoo Yahoo. If you are if you are an entrepreneur and you are buying and selling something, whether it is physical products or service, you have to go into the market. Find people who have told the path before. You have to talk to potential customers. In fact, when I was in my former life, so I worked with Nestle for many years, about 15 years. And well, you can learn a lot on the computer about FMCG, selling, marketing, but the real insights will come from going into the homes.
Yes.
You go into the homes and see how is the product used? How are they using the competitors' products? What kind of challenges are they having? Whether it is in opening it, whether it's in pouring it out, whether it's in the mixing, whether it's in the consuming, you understand every step of the value chain, but you will only understand it when you go into the market.
Exactly.
If you didn't go into the market, you wouldn't know that AC connection was a challenge. You wouldn't know that dual charging was a challenge. You wouldn't even know any of the challenges the installer will have, which helps you also create your setup for easy installation. So, madam, I think that market is where the knowledge is. Get what you can from online, which is always available for you to study, and even like webinars like this that we're running, that helps you understand other people's stories, other people's journeys. But then again, for you to succeed, you have to go into the market. Friends, A4&T, the website is there in the chat box. Please go into the website. It's quite interesting service that they offer, and they offer for small homes, even small stores, shops, businesses. They help you power in a very efficient and also renewable way. Okay, you can't see the website, all right? The website is in the chat box. I can see it, www.a4tintegrated.com. Is that correct, Tayo?
Yes, it's correct.
All right, fantastic. So I'm going to go, Miriam had been raising her hand. I'm sorry, it looks like I've missed that. Let me ask you some of the questions that were asked at the point of registration. And this person was asking about how do you even identify the right niche? So I've been, okay, I want a niche. I want to be different. I want to create some differentiation. How do I identify this famous niche that we're talking about?
Oh, well, there is a part of it that is innate, that is just from within you. And there's a part of it that is from shine your eyes. Don't. When you're passing by everywhere or you're in discussion, open your eyes. Nigeria is full of different kind of opportunities, and they can jump at you. So, and you know, close off from your mind that word of impossibility. What they will need to fill this gap will have to be done from abroad. Yes, but you can think it out. So, anywhere you are, be looking for gaps. To find a niche, you must be able to identify gaps. And there are so many gaps in Nigeria in every way. If you look at every value chain, there are always gaps. In the agricultural area now, the value chain has many gaps. You know, as COVID has entered now, COVID has also brought many gaps. But how well can you recognize these gaps? You know, I had a chat with a friend, in the heat of the COVID last year. And I was shocked when he told me and said, look, I want to start a business. I said, what would this business be doing? He said, people can't go and buy things in the market. I want to be delivering for them. In the heat of this COVID, he said, yes. So he told his people to sew PPE. So they sew PPE for his dispatch riders, and all of them wore PPE, and he took pictures of them and he sent it to me and said, we are ready to deliver during COVID. We are compliant. I just looked at him, I said, for God's sake, and that was how it started. So there's always a gap. Find it and just latch to it. And the truth is, like I said, it's not that, okay, you found one, you now say, okay, I have found one, and you are not thinking again. No, sometimes you have 5 in the bowl and you're saying, okay, I'm testing this 5. Oh, this is the right one. That would be the big one. Okay, these ones are just small, but this is the right one, So please don't close your options as you're finding. And the truth is, it's not going to be easy. Like I told you, it's not going to be easy from a start. But honestly, once you're consistent and dogged with God's help, you will make it through. So please, let our eyes be open. For God's sake, it could be your children's school. You're always getting there every time they're doing something, and you see that at this thing I could do it differently. My first stroke of business, while I was still at the bank on my desk, was I had, someone, like a little sister staying in my place, and she was working somewhere. And where she was working was this place where they used to do recharge cards, in those days of recharge cards. So Obasanjo licensed, I think, about 6-7 companies to be producing in Nigeria, So she was working there. But as she was working there, when they finished producing these recharge cards, they keep them in a box. And they need to seal them with a tape. We call it tamper-evident tape. So that when you open that sellotape, it will write tampered on the carton. So that the recharge cards are protected during transportation. Nobody can steal them from manufacturer's outfit to the distributor's outlet. So someday she wasn't going to work. And I was asking, why are you not going to work? And the next thing she said, they didn't have tapes. Tapes. I said, what type of tapes? They said tapes that they used to seal carton. That's why you are not going to work. He said, yes. He said, they can't run shift. Why? He said they have produced many cards, they have it in cartons, it's filled everywhere. They cannot send it out to distributors because there is no tape. I said, I have tape. She looked at me. That night I didn't sleep. I was online looking for tape all over the world. So I found tape in Israel. When I found the tape in Israel, I ordered for it. The sample, it came, but the pricing didn't work for me. Because I went to the company, immediately I started seeing the tape. I went to meet them. I said, I have the tape you're looking for. Okay, they said, next week, come with your sample. That the truth is, we don't interview, the vendor. We don't say English. We just give him the carton. Once he can put the tape on it, he opens it, it writes tamper. You got the project. I said, really? Okay, I said, no. Okay, so I have tape. So when I came back from Israel and the price wasn't working, then the guy that gave me from Israel said, try China. He was the first person in 2006 that introduced me to China. So I now turned my searchlight from Europe and America, and I beamed it on China. So finally I got it. And guess what? The price met what the company wanted. So I brought in the sample, and that day I just walked in the afternoon, myself and a friend of mine, we had fasted like mad. That when we are opening this tape, it was just showing. Because the truth is, they have said, we don't want to know your background. We don't want to know. Just bring the tape.
Us what works.
We will give you the carton. You put it on it and you open it. So as I was opening it, my hand was shaking. My friend just took it from me. I just opened it. And the thing just wrote tempered. And that week, they gave me a purchase order of 1.5 million.
Opportunities are everywhere. Open up your eyes, your ears. Curious.
She just said she didn't go to work. So I said, why didn't you go to work? She said, tape. So you, as an entrepreneur, there's no. You must find it.
Observational. Open your ears, open your eyes. It's the power of curiosity and being an observant. Just be observant and have a solution mindset. Because entrepreneurship is really about delivering solutions. And you brought the solution to those people. They just needed a tamper-proof tape, and you went all over the world and delivered the solution. Yeah. Okay, Stewart, the floor is yours.
Okay, Mr. Ayo, good evening. Thank you so much, Doja. Okay, so sir, I think the Tech Biz series today is specifically for me because we picked the niche couple of weeks before I joined the Tech Biz series, and Tech Biz series has pushed us through, and it's in the e-commerce industry. So instead of building something like Jumia, we decided to pick just footwears, where sellers can come upload their product, own a store, and sell. So you can come order, we pick it up and deliver. We launched last week, Saturday, and so we've got about 20 sellers in Port Harcourt already, with over 600 footwears already in the store. Wow. And all thanks to Tech Biz series. And we're yet to take this story. We're going to tell the story how they walked us through. So, but I have a very simple question. One of the things you did not mention is partnership. What role does partnership play when you pick a niche? Because when you're picking a niche means that there are some other things about what you want to do that you're not doing. And so you might have to leverage on partnership to grow. So someone saw our pre-launch ad and he said he's in Lagos and he's currently building something similar but strictly for clothes alone, where sellers can upload their clothes and all that. And he's seeking for partnership. He said he's going to launch by April or something. So I just want to know, what role does partnership play, and what are the rules? What are the red lights and green lights you need to observe when you're going to partnership? Thank you, sir.
That's great.
I just a second before you answer the question. Please don't forget the question. Friends, please go to correctleg.com. Correctleg.com. So that's correctleg.com. So that's the site for Stewart. And Stewart, thank you for giving credit to Tech Biz, but most of the credit are in your hands because you chose to execute everything that you had learned on this platform. And you're a shining example. I'm looking at your site right now. It's really, really beautiful. You've picked your niche of footwear only, and that's just fantastic. There are some areas that we can still provide some support, ideas, and the rest on to make the site really optimal and have the best of user experience. But it's really beautiful. I like it. Well done, Stewart. Ayo, please, over to you.
Honestly, Stewart, that's a great one. I had not thought about it before, to have that kind of platform. And, in a very short while, you're looking for shoes. You don't need to go into the boutique where you have clothes, you have ties, you just go for shoes. It's a fantastic one. And I really give it to you for coming up with that idea. So honestly, the truth is, partnership is everything. When I wanted to answer the question on agribusiness that the person asked about how to go about it without money, I wanted to talk about partnership and barter. So, of course, what you do here is that some of these people you want to employ, you can cede some portion of the land to them. and they will work for you for that thing that you have given them. You can also give them. So I will give you an example. In the palm oil, in the palm tree farming, this is what they do. So you have the palm trees, but the truth is that you can pluck them and you can do those stuffs. So they have these laborers that do it, but they don't collect cash. So what they do is that they help you get the fruits down, they match it, they produce your palm oil. Your palm oil is yours, the palm kernels is theirs. So they sell off the palm kernels to pay for their labor so that you don't have to bring out cash to pay them. In the same vein, partnership is fine. For us, we have been able to leverage on partnerships with different levels of people. Leverage on partnership, with microfinance institutions to be able to reach the market women and allow them to pay for our system weekly instead of paying cash for all the system. Been able to leverage a partnership, with IFC of World Bank to be able to get some trainings and some consulting done. So partnership is fantastic, but here are the rules. Number one, you need to set the boundaries via MOU or agreements. No matter how small or minute, whatever you're doing is in terms of what you're working on and what you're doing, please find a lawyer. Oh, I do not have enough money to get a lawyer, blah, blah. The truth is, ask a friend. Who will have a friend that has a friend that has been a lawyer and say, don't worry, I'll pay you when I blow. So they can just draft, even if it's a paid draft for you, just something to say, my friend, you are giving me your shop. I am putting my shoes. These are our terms. You sign it off. Partnership works when all details are written. The devil is in the detail. When all the details are written down, that is when partnership works. So it's great, but please set the boundaries. Of course, partnership in Nigeria has faced a lot of problems because of these boundaries and whatever issues, because when we are setting the details, we leave some out. But when everything is thought about, every scenario is considered, as each of them plays, you just say, oh, this scenario, this is what we said we would do when it comes up. So please don't rush into partnerships. Consider them very well because they kill business sometimes, and they destroy relationship. Consider them, but please set out the rules, in partnership deeds. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayo. And Vivian is offering her services. So Vivian says, reach out to me. She has her email address there. She has a phone number there as well.
Thank you, Vivian.
So
That's
please
great.
Reach out to Vivian when you are defining the terms and MOUs for your partnership. Extremely critical. No matter the kind of partnership it is, whether it is supplier related, business related, funds related, no matter what it is, the terms have to be in black and white and signed. Thank you so much, Ayo. And Elvis has posted Tech Biz Nation. That is our entrepreneurs community. It's hosted on Telegram. We encourage people to join because that's where we discuss a lot more about topics. We share information, funding information, some paths to further research and to further help your business growth. And most importantly, we use it to network. So the link is there. Feel free to join. For now, it is still free to join. Ayo, you have spent the last hour telling us about succeeding in the niche. One very last question for me. Is there something that we should know that we still have not talked about?
Well, you have to believe in yourself. Nobody will believe your story if you don't believe in yourself first. And that is the hardest part of the entrepreneurship work, because when every other thing has failed in line with plan, you have to be able to tell yourself that I'm still here and I'm still going to make it. That's it from me.
Thank you, Ayo. Believe in yourself as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
When all else fails, there's only one thing you have yourself. So continue, slug it on. It will never It is not an easy journey, and no one ever promised us that it will be easy. However, it is the battle is there for us to fight. The opportunities are also there, and the rewards are waiting for us to capture. So thank you so much, Ayo. Thank you for the nuggets. Thank you for the stories. I'm really moved by the stories, and I think that same with our audience. Please, friends, please post a positive message for Ayo. Stewart is saying thank you.
Thank you so much.
Stewart of correctleg.com. I even like the name. Sam is also saying thank you, but different people have given positive feedback over the course of the webinar, and we're quite grateful. Friends, this is from Eco Innovation Center. This is TechBiz series. We're here every single Thursday. Well, I mean, every single Thursday. Last Thursday, we were not here for some certain emergency, but we're here on Thursdays. We have our TechBiz Nation. The critical purpose for eco-innovation is to support businesses. We want to support the entrepreneurship journey. We want to accelerate businesses because we believe that that is the path out of poverty for this country and indeed for the continent. Have a wonderful evening, and we wish you the very best in your endeavors. Bye. Bye,
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much, Georgia.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.